Yo guys, what's going on? It's Kid Urban. I'm going to do a beat breakdown today. I got to be quick because I just recorded this video. It got to a certain amount of time and it said there wasn't enough space to carry on recording. And I was only about halfway through, so I'm going to have to be quick. I'm going to do the Melodic trap one I uploaded last on my channel. If you can't remember which one that was, it was this one. So we'll start from where I actually started on the beat, so you can get an idea of what actually made the beat how it is now. So it's this synth chord. It's like a soul kind of bass. Why have I muted it for? Yeah, it's this synth chord I've got here. It's from Silent, and it's just a saw bass. Not saw bass, just a saw. Sounds like this. And with that, I also layered it with this, what was originally an arpeggiator sounds. It sounded like this originally. But I turned the arpeggiator off to make my own sort of, my arpeggiator sound like this. And together you've got this. Now that sound in the background probably isn't very noticeable, but now you know it's there. You probably have to notice it, but it just adds a bit more excitement to the sounds. It doesn't get too boring. And then this second pattern is just this exact same pattern, but lowered an octave. So it sounds like this. One thing you notice about this saw sound, it's got like a very long sort of hold, so it will have like its big sort of, but then it holds the note quite well, so after it actually hits the note, it holds it quite well. It doesn't sort of fade out, which it might have been better to do, but I like the way it carries on. See what I mean? And then the arpeggiator is lowered an octave as well. And onto the drums. These are the chorus drums. They're a bit crazy on the chorus as opposed to the verse, where I sort of died it down a little bit. So I'll start on the 808 for you, which is this one. Now the whole time the 808's playing, it's following the notes for the chords I just showed you then. So if the note's hitting on one of these notes, it will always be one of the notes that are in the chords. So it will always be within the melody. But all these ones that are going up and down, they're in the same octave. You can see this is F sharp. This is just F sharp as well. D sharp again, just in a higher octave. Adds a bit of excitement to the bass melody, which I enjoy hearing more than if it was all on the same pattern. And then the second layer I've got is the same 808, but I've just cut out all the bass from it. Not that one, that's not the right one. This one, yeah, I cut all the bass. I use it as like a layer on top of the bass just to emphasize that sort of, that tone this 808 has. A lot of 808s have that sort of, that mid-tone that makes it a bit more exciting than just a standard sort of sub bass. It sounds like this. You're going to hear that it's got like that nice sound to it, and if I put them two together, and layer that with a kick. Kick isn't on C. I've lowered it down 1 to B because it mixed better with the kick if I moved it around, like messed around with what note the kick should be on. This one I found fit the best. So it sounds like this. And here, to add a bit more aggression to the drum pattern, is a stomp sound. Doesn't happen too frequently, so it doesn't get that annoying, but it sort of adds, it's on the main sort of kicks, so it's on the first kick, and then it's on, but it basically follows the chords, so where every chord hits, basically a stomp hits as well, and conveniently another kick and bass note will hit as well, so it just emphasizes the chords a bit more. So it sounds like this together. I lied, that sounds like this together. And finally in here I've added this snare, which it's called Headlines. It's from a Drake kit I got. You can get this snare pretty much everywhere. Sounds like this. And that was for the chorus. Doubled it down a little bit so you can see the difference when you keep your eyes on the 808 there. And the kick just takes away a few notes, not loads, so it sounds like this. So it's not much different, that's just for the verse as opposed to the chorus. And then we've got, this is just without the kick and the bass. And that's not important. Onto the melody here. This is from Synth. One thing about this one that made the melody so much better is the way it slides. So if you've got a sound that's in Synth, or like in Purity, I know you can do it as well. Well, most VSTs. You've got down here now. It's not set on mono. So you can still play a chord with it, but it's got a slide on it. So if I play this note, you can hear the slide in between each note. I'll show you the difference between the two, but turning up the portamento, so it means the notes slide between each other, makes it a bit more interesting, and I enjoy the way it sounds more like this. As opposed to this with no slide on it. Now neither of them sound bad, but I prefer it actually sounds more interesting with the slide on it. The way they slide in between each note. And the next pattern is exactly the same pattern. You can see it didn't actually, so I didn't even show you the pattern, I'm sorry. These are the notes. And then that's the next pattern, exactly the same. All I've done is highlighted it and dragged it down to the lower octave. Still on D sharp, it's just lower. This is for the verse. Still, as I keep saying, it makes it a bit more interesting to lower it down for the verse, because then when you bring it back in on the chorus, it sounds completely different. So, and again, more interesting. That was not important. This is the snare, the two snares here. So you've got the headline snare as well as my pop snare I found very recently, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you're wearing headphones, it might be a bit loud. Now when that's mixed with the clap I'm going to show you in a minute, it all fits together. It sounds very poppy. So when it is used, because the clap is mainly only on the chorus, when that's used, it's got a lot of energy to it. So I enjoy the combination. I will show you what they sound like together before I actually play the beat. Next is this sine wave here. It is in Synth again, but it doesn't have to be. You can find any sine wave. You can make them in the 3X oscillator. You can find them in other VSTs. So it just sounds like this. This is the melody. That's again only on the chorus. Just adds a bit of body to it behind it. It's hardly noticeable, but you can kind of hear it, but you're not too sure what it is. So now you know what it is. It's a sine wave. Onto the hi-hats very quickly. Now there's two patterns I've got for my hi-hats. This one is mainly for the chorus again, because it's got that more energy to it, a bit more excitement, and it changes a lot to keep you guessing. Things I've done on this one to make it that bit more listenable, a bit more interesting as well, it's just pan the notes. If you don't know how to do this, you can just go on to this grey bar here. I tend to go on to when you've got a pattern. You could just right click it and it comes up with all the options you can do. So you can change with the pitch, you can change with the velocity, and you can change the pan on it. So I've just changed it so it goes from the left ear to the right ear, not all the way, but the majority of, what was it say, 78% to the left, that one is, and it goes to 73% to the right, and then vice versa, it goes back down from right to the left. And I only do it on the notes that speed up, so the ones with pretty big spaces in between I tend to leave. Only when it speeds up a bit I like to make it sound like it's going from one ear to the other nice and fast. So I've done that. You can see the sections I've done it on there. And then this is my cymbals. I'll play the cymbals for you here. Now they're quite interesting to use. The way they work is these hit obviously on the first note, then they hit on where the second chord, and then all the stomps, the 808s, the kicks all hit there. So again, just builds on that energy again, and it just does another one. Don't want to do it too frequently because it might get a bit annoying. So I've used it 3 times in the space of 4 bars. So it's hardly noticeable, but it adds that a brightness to the kicks and the stomps when it actually happens. Only thing I've done that one you could probably hear there was a bit delay, very small delay on it, and a bit of reverb, and cut out the low ends. And the reverb is quite a high amount of reverb, just to make it sound not so sort of stock, not so like you've just dragged it in and dropped it in. It makes it sound like I've actually tried to make the sound fit in as much as possible. And this is strings I use on the chorus. This is from Nexus. They're called drama strings. And yeah, they just add again to the brightness. Follows the exact same chord pattern as the chords from the first pattern. It sounds like this. So yeah, they're quite sort of overpowering strings, so they're turned down quite a bit. You can hear them, and it just adds that sort of that epicness, I guess, to the chorus when it's on. I'm talking a lot about the chorus. The chorus was my favourite, my main sort of point of focus on this beat. So there's a lot of stuff on the chorus that's only on the chorus. Hi-hats, this is mainly for the verse, so when it gets a bit sort of slowed down, not so energetic, I've got my hi-hats here. That the only thing on these ones is that they go up and down in velocity just to get a bit bouncier. Still good though, just not as sort of crazy as the previous one was. Now here's the clap I was talking about that will go with my snare. Spent a lot of time trying to get this one to fit with it. So you've got the high end has been boosted. Maybe I should cut out a bit of the low just in case. So it's not crucial to do it if it hasn't got any low end, but a lot of the time these sounds, even though you can't see if it's got low ends, it can have low end, and that can sort of muddy your mix and start clashing with other sounds. So just to be on the safe side, just cut the low end out of most of these sounds if you don't need the bass in them. And I've got a bit of reverb. I went for the stock reverb plugin instead of my Karma effects. Just give it a bit of a big room reverb there, and the Camel Crusher I've used to add a bit of subtle master to it. So it's like a bit of a boost on some of the frequencies when you do the subtle master. So it just sort of brings it out a bit more, adds a bit more brightness. And with the snare, it sounds like this. So very, very poppy. Take that one out. That one's not important. I did add this. I like it. I do like this bit a lot, but it didn't fit. It's quite an epic brass pattern. That was going to be on the chorus, but instead of that, I opted to go for this, which I just added the melody instead of just layering it up. So I've got this melody, which was again from Synth. Took me a while to find the sound and then come up with a melody, because my main focus on this one was to come up with a melody that caught people's attention. It was one you could remember. You don't get many songs with melodies you can sort of just start humming. So I was trying to come up with a melody you can sort of hum without actually listening to the song. Just one of those ones that sticks in your head. I probably haven't come up with that exactly, but I will be working on a bit more. That's what it sounds like. Personally, I love it how it sounds at the moment. You can hear the way these notes slide. So if you've got a song that's got portamento turned on, you can obviously then mess with the slides. So they'll slide in between each other if you overlap the notes. So yeah, it does make it sound a bit better. I do love it when the sort of notes sort of slide with each other. Probably sound quite sexual. Didn't mean it to be. But that's all the patterns that are actually on the song. Which obviously I'll play them all together in a second for you. There was just a few smaller techniques I've got here, which I've explained this one before. This is my reverse 808 here. You can hear it's the 808 sample I use, but backwards. So what I tend to do, I think it's on this pattern here, is I've put in the notes to a certain point, but then I've sort of mirrored them. I thought I did, but I can't actually remember what I did with them. I think, yeah, I must have mirrored them. So this is actually where the sound starts, and then from sort of here onwards. So this would be the note, and then this would be the way the bass is actually going forwards. But I flipped it around, if it makes sense. So it should be going this way, like playing normally, but I've put them in backwards, because then what I do is I go into Edison and record them in forwards. So that's the notes as they're playing backwards. So at the moment, the note. I'm trying to think of the best. I'm so bad at explaining things, but it's basically that's this 808 pattern from probably about like here. But it's playing the wrong way as it should be playing. So then what I do is I record it into Edison, and I reverse it. So then now it's going the right way, but the samples are reversed. Not very good at explaining, but that's pretty much it. So I basically just put in the pattern backwards, recorded it, then reversed it. So then the pattern goes the right way, but the sample goes backwards. It's quite a handy technique. I added on that one as well just a bit of distortion, pretty fast distortion, and there's a volume envelope on it. So when it plays, it sounds like this. So it brings the bass back in basically. It's a nice sort of drop on that one. Only other thing I did to the beat that was sort of worth talking about was this filter here. It's my Karma Effects low pass filter I put on the master channel, and what it would do is, if you have a look at the way it actually automates, I've got an automation clip in here, so it will then go down from being open all the way and letting all frequencies through. I filter it down. So it says 11%. So 11% of the frequencies down to the low end have been filtered out, and then it slowly will bring itself back up, which sounds like this. Which is basically, yeah, low pass filters used in a lot of songs, not just trap. I use it in a lot of my trap songs, but it's a very effective technique to sort of focus on maybe the bass on one section. Maybe it's not, but that's how I see it. Like if I filter out all the high ends, it's you can focus a bit more on the bass and slowly bring back in the rest of the song. It's, again, just keeps it more interesting. I like the way it sounds when I do it like that. Apart from that, that is the beat broken down pretty much. If I had more time, I would talk about it a bit more, but I know this bastard is going to cut out on me in a second, so that gives me enough time to play the beat on the outro. Obviously, any other beats you want me to break down, anything I missed off that you wanted me to answer, just give me a shout. Just let me know in the comments. I'll answer any questions, because I know I maybe haven't done this the best as I could have, but I wanted to get it out there for you guys basically. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to play this beat. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll be back with another one soon. Thank you. Bye.
Yo man, listen now, it's Kid Earl. Kid Earl.